China's military is literally spraying entire cities with insecticide, forcing infected citizens into hospital isolation, and deploying door-to-door search squads, all for a virus that's rarely deadly. Sound familiar? The People's Republic has launched what can only be described as a full-scale military campaign against the Chikungunya virus in Guangdong Province, southern China. Over the past month, this mosquito-transmitted disease has struck down thousands of residents with excruciating joint pain, high fevers, and widespread skin rashes. The government's response? Deploy the army. Soldiers are currently blanketing the streets and public parks of Foshan City with clouds of insecticide from industrial-grade fogging machines. Meanwhile, community task forces are conducting systematic house-to-house inspections, hunting for any standing water where mosquitoes might dare to reproduce. But here's where it gets controversial. Anyone testing positive for the virus is reportedly being compelled to enter hospital isolation, whether they want to or not. Yanzhong Huang, a senior fellow specializing in global health at the Council on Foreign Relations, draws an uncomfortable parallel. These tactics are strikingly reminiscent of the COVID-19 playbook, where authorities imposed extreme restrictions on citizens. Movements to contain SARS-CoV-2 transmission. And this is the part most people miss. Some experts believe China might be dramatically overreacting. Huang suggests that several of these aggressive countermeasures are likely excessive, considering that chikungunya has an extremely low fatality rate and cannot transmit through airborne particles like COVID-19. The virus exclusively spreads through infected Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes, which must bite an infected person first before passing the disease to someone else. However, there's a compelling argument for China's heavy-handed approach. Chikungunya outbreaks are virtually unheard of in China, meaning the entire population lacks natural immunity to this foreign invader. The disease typically circulates in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America, regions where populations have developed some resistance over generations. The numbers tell a startling story. More than 8,000 individuals have contracted the virus across Guangdong Province, making this the most extensive chikungunya outbreak in Chinese recorded history. Drone footage shows aircraft systematically spraying insecticide over Guangzhou on August 1st, resembling scenes from a science fiction film rather than routine public health measures. So what exactly is this virus that's prompted such an extraordinary response? Chikungunya disease stems from infection by the chikungunya virus, pronounced chikungunya, and its name carries a haunting meaning. The term originates from the Kimakonde language of Tanzania, where scientists first identified the virus in 1952. It literally translates to that which bends up, describing the contorted postures of sufferers writhing in agony from severe joint pain. Dr. Lori Silva, a virologist at the University of Pittsburgh, explains the progression. Patients typically develop symptoms within 3 to 7 days following a bite from an infected mosquito. While fever, rash, and fatigue are common, the joint pain is absolutely the defining characteristic. It can be completely debilitating, leaving people unable to get out of bed, essentially incapacitated. But here's what makes chikungunya particularly insidious. While most symptoms resolve within a week, a significant percentage of patients develop chronic complications. The prolonged joint pain can persist for weeks, months, or in some unfortunate cases, years, Silva warns. This long-term suffering represents one of the primary concerns surrounding this virus. When it comes to fighting chikungunya, medical options remain frustratingly limited. No specific antiviral medications exist to target the virus directly. Treatment essentially boils down to rest, maintaining proper hydration, and managing pain with over-the-counter medications, Silva explains. It's a sobering reality that in our age of advanced medicine, We're still relying on the same basic remedies our grandparents might have used. 2 licensed vaccines do exist, but their availability and usage remain severely restricted according to World Health Organization guidelines. In the United States, health authorities only recommend vaccination for travelers, visiting high-risk areas, or laboratory workers who might encounter the virus professionally. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has already issued travel advisories for Guangdong, strongly urging visitors to use mosquito repellent and consider vaccination. Unfortunately for Chinese residents, these vaccines aren't currently accessible within China's borders. The global picture reveals why China might be genuinely concerned about this outbreak spreading beyond their borders. Since scientists first discovered chikungunya in Tanzania 7 decades ago, the virus gradually appeared throughout other African and Asian nations over subsequent decades. However, since 2004, international outbreaks have accelerated dramatically, with the virus now documented in over 110 countries worldwide. Cases and major outbreaks concentrate heavily in tropical and subtropical regions where mosquito populations thrive year-round. Climate change and increasingly interconnected global travel patterns are expanding chikungunya's geographical reach, according to Silva's research. This expansion explains why even temperate regions like the United States now report cases annually, though typically in returning travelers. Notably, the U.S. hasn't recorded a locally transmitted case since 2019. This year's global statistics paint a concerning picture. Approximately 240,000 chikungunya cases and 90 deaths have been reported worldwide, with South America bearing the heaviest burden. While China's outbreak appears relatively small in comparison, it's worth noting that La Réunion, a small island in the Indian Ocean, has documented nearly 50,000 cases in 2025 alone. The real danger lies in chikungunya's ability to spread rapidly through densely populated urban environments where mosquitoes can establish thriving colonies. This urban transmission potential explains China's extreme measures to eliminate mosquito populations throughout Foshan. They're essentially trying to break the transmission chain before it becomes unstoppable. Recent developments suggest China's aggressive strategy might be working, at least initially. Huang reports that confirmed cases appear to be declining over recent days, indicating that the disease may be reaching a plateau in Foshan. However, he cautions against premature celebration, noting that with continuing hot and humid weather conditions in the region, combined with ongoing travel, we cannot eliminate the possibility that the disease will spread beyond Guangdong's borders. This raises a provocative question that deserves serious consideration. Is China's military-style response a necessary public health measure, or are they applying COVID-era authoritarian tactics to a fundamentally different disease? The forced hospitalization of positive cases seems particularly extreme for a virus that rarely kills and cannot spread through casual contact. What do you think? Are China's extreme measures justified given their population's lack of immunity? Or is this government overreach disguised as public health protection? Should other countries prepare similar responses? Or does China's approach represent a dangerous precedent for future outbreak management? The world is watching, and the answers might shape how we respond to the next emerging disease threat.